music and also this piece. But these things are a question of personal taste. You may not agree with that. You know, maybe you feel this piece to be more strong, more with a lot of forward motion, a lot of rhythmic drive, etc. You know, tell me just quickly how you select this piece, why you play this piece, how you feel about the piece.
I was assigned this piece by my teacher.
Oh, you were assigned it.
I assigned it, but as for all pieces, I always enjoy playing them.
Mm-hmm.
I usually don't want to pick the pieces. I believe my teacher, she's more experienced, she's higher, she has better experience, and she understands students' needs, and she understands what pieces are good for a student at a particular time. I usually don't try to get ahead of my teacher and pick pieces on my own. No,
that's cool. That's true. You know, but you like it, right?
Yes,
you like this piece, yeah, and it's Chopin, right? Which is different from, let's say, Beethoven, or different from Prokofiev, or something like that. What for you is the mood of the piece? How do you feel about it?
In general, for starters, this piece is very contrasting. But
we didn't get the word.
For starters, this piece is very contrasting.
Contrasting, yeah.
But, however, like all pieces, it has a general mood. And the general mood of this piece is quite joyful and quite elegant and graceful. Unlike the other three ballades, which are quite tragic, especially the first and the last one. And the second one's also much more stormy, although the first theme is rather calm and graceful.
Right. Well, I completely agree with that. That's how I feel about it too. The third one is different. You use the word elegant, actually, right? And use joyful, and joyful and elegant. What was another adjective for the third one you used?
Graceful.
Graceful, yes, graceful. I think we can do more with elegance and graceful. The joy was there. I feel the joy, the vitality, the life inside was definitely there. What is elegance? I mean, elegance is
all music is very elegant, but there are some pieces or composers that I see, especially like Mozart. There's never any extreme. There's never any harsh or very stormy moments. However, there is much drama in his works. For example, the D minor concerto, the K466 is quite dramatic, and the piano quartet in G minor, K478. But in general, it just still retains the gracefulness.
Yes.
Some works, for example, Prokofiev, like the Sonata No. 3, is quite percussive.
Is that graceful for you?
Well, I wouldn't say it's completely graceful, so it does have moments of elegance, but no, some music can be quite the opposite of graceful. They can be quite pounding, just quite percussive.
Right, but I don't think that you think the third ballade is that way, right?
You didn't play in that way.
Was I playing it a bit stormy or?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I thought it was a bit stormy.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
That's just my feeling, but it's all relative. But like I said, the piano is a bit that way. It's kind of stormy. The room is very loud. It makes it more that way. It magnifies it. But I also thought it was a bit that way. And maybe we can translate your adjectives, which I like very much, graceful, elegant, and joyful, directly into physical sound at the piano, and talk a little bit about, like 2 or 3 ways to play one passage. Do you have another copy so I can look at this?
Well, yes, I do, actually. Except it's upstairs.
Oh, okay. I can get a copy.
Well, you can just leave this camera on the chair.
Yeah, well, you know the piece very well.
Yeah, he knows, but I will get another copy.
Oh, okay, good luck. You can find it in the library here. Yeah.
She's gonna get. I did bring another copy here, and it's in my practice room.
Well, what do you think we should do? Do you want to wait and see?
No, you can start teaching the lesson because after all, we have the video camera there, so I can remember.
Good. Okay. Good. There are stormy sections in this piece, sure.
For example, the C sharp minor section.
But let's actually go from the backwards to the forward. This might be the clearest example of it. Starting from this passage here. Okay, somebody's written harmony, legato, where, do, something or other. Yeah. I like to try to use other people's ideas too when I can. Or maybe you wrote these things.
My teacher, actually.
Your teacher wrote these things, right. What is the mood for you of this section?
Quite, well, after all the tragedy and the storminess we have, here the sun comes back out and then it's much more joyful again, energetic. And it just sounds like the closing of the story. It's like the coda. It's like the coda.
The coda, right.
It's the end of a story.
Okay, the end of a storm. So because this was
a story.
Oh, story. Yeah, story. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. I agree, but I don't think it's stormy anymore. I agree the sun comes out there. If you could maybe change the mood somehow, that after. Find some way that it's sunny. I agree it's joyful, I agree it's sunny. I don't think, we both agree, I don't think we think it's stormy and everything. Can you make a change somehow in the mood there? Let's go back from here. Did that seem like a change to you in the mood?
Probably not.
That was more of a change, I thought. So what were you doing? What was the difference?
I took a bit more time and I did it more gradually because I think before I did it more impulsively, it sounded.
I agree. It sounded like you continued the mood from the time before, so in a way like the storm was continuing even when the sun came out. So that's what I was sort of talking about, that thing. Now, as an experiment, could we go even further in this direction? And I'll give you a suggestion. There are a million things we could do to make it like sunny or mood change, whatever. You could play it a little softer. You could play it also balancing the tones and the chords more to the top and not so much inside. You know, that makes it sound, into my mind, more elegant. So let's go back though and then change it. Yeah, no, okay, I was just saying, slow down, get ready, maybe make a preparation. Ba 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 bum bum. Same place. That one to me didn't quite work. Could you relax the tempo a little bit? When you hit this, maybe play more in the mood of the opening. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Just that you took the time to quote the first phrase again with a little bit more breathing space in it, immediately, for me, makes the sun come out. Because it is sunny to begin with, right? As you say, as opposed to or right or right. Those are the stormy ones. This is the sunny one. So you did it great. Now let's keep going in this direction of other things you can do with your sound and your hands to make the sun come out even more beautifully. Could you play softer the left hand part? I'd like to try it slow so we can get the sounds and the balances. The opposite of that would be right? Okay, let's play half tempo and play left hand very slow. Let's work on the right hand sound as well. We'll just do right hand alone for a little while. If it's not stormy, you know, if it's all those other adjectives but not stormy, I think it would be good to have a tone that was full without being aggressive. This piano is very loud, but you still, I believe, can get what I call a cushioned sound, a sound that's more based on a slower descent down. Yes. Yes, that's it.
More flatter, play flatter.
Flatter fingers and not hitting the piano, not that, but more pull.
This one would be more of a striking, more crisp sound.
Exactly, exactly. As opposed to that, which to me is stylistically more in keeping with the sun coming out and with the other adjectives such as graceful and elegant, which is an overall feel for the piece. As opposed to, obviously, you know...
What's that anyway? What's that piece?
The Seventh Prokofiev Sonata,
oh.
right. Or even the... okay, where it's appropriate and good to play in a striking manner. And Prokofiev talked about that. He didn't want sensuous. He wanted something that was aggressive. And it works beautifully that way. This is so different stylistically to me. I think you were getting the sound in the right hand. So let's combine that nice full sound where you're cushioning and you're not hitting with a softer left hand balance. Started great, and then it was getting a little on the edgy side. Keep it. That's it. Don't push too hard. Just let it gently. Perfect. Good. When you had the repeated notes, where are you now? Are you there? Yeah. It was a little, rather than, what I'm doing is I'm actually sort of pulling, but hold on to them too. Yeah, and you're going to end well, that's it. Perfect. Keep that sound. Great. colors to another color, as they say, really completely different. To me, that was completely in the realm of the style of this beautiful piece. And the first one to me was outside of that. You know, now your generation is so far from my generation that I don't know if these ideas will even continue in the world. In 50 years, I don't know if people will be talking about this piece being elegant and graceful. I hope so. Yeah, you hope so too. But the direction that technology has taken performing, you know, is so far from our past.
This is why movies are really popular these days, because the classical music doesn't have any universal appeal. I mean, what it needs is universal appeal to the general public. And unless you're a musician or a very well-educated person, you will not be able to understand music, classical music. And while post-rock and roll, they just sing about these random American daily life feelings or movies. Even if it's an idiot could understand what a movie is. Like,
Yeah.
Unless the movie has a very deep background, but otherwise movies in general are quite understandable.
Yeah, well, they're produced mostly in Hollywood for making money, and the common denominator of people of a certain age.
Unfortunately, people these days just take these things to performances, upload them to YouTube, and then
Right.
it's so hard to prosecute them because countries like China, they don't care.
No.
Sadly,
That's
they,
right, yeah.
They just allow you just to steal things, post them on the internet, and then, unlike the United States, where it's really seriously taken.
Yeah, well, it's quite an issue.
But
isn't it?
they can't arrest everyone.
No, there's 7 billion people in the world. I hope these ideas live on, and I hope that somebody with your talent like this will be a soldier for these ideas and the relationship with the past. Yeah. And I recommend, and you probably already do it, that when you listen to music, you don't listen to it on YouTube, but that you get speakers that can convey a better sound. Do you have speakers in your house?
Yes, we do.
You have speakers,
But what I listen to on YouTube, I don't just listen to some random student playing. I listen to some great artists like Rubinstein or Zimmerman.
Right,
Zimmerman's playing just really beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even like Rubinstein's as much. I like Zimmerman's elegance. He just, no one beats him. I mean, in Schubert and Brahms' Opus 90, I mean, no one plays more elegant than he does.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah, I think he's a better pianist than Arthur Rubinstein. Yeah, and Arthur Rubinstein wasn't bad.
He was really good at his Chopin.
Yeah, well, he was a kind of person that, and I'm old enough to have heard him a lot, that you were better off hearing him live in a concert than in a recording.
Yes.
And the best people are always that way. 90% of people will be better on a record. The greatest people will always be better in a live concert because they stand up to the scrutiny right at one time. You know, they play well enough that their concert is just great all by itself without fixing the record, you know. And Rubinstein, you know, he had that quality to his playing. I mean, you could see the talent of the man. But have you heard Zimmerman in concert?
No, not in live concert, but my professor did.
Yeah.
I think my one professor once heard him play the Liszt's first piano concerto with the Lemon Symphony.
Right, yeah.
He's an excellent pianist.
Yeah. Well, he is amazing. Yeah. He really stands up in a concert completely. Yeah. I heard him right after he won the Chopin competition in 1975. It must have been about, well, I guess 3 years later. I think it was 78. I heard him in Paris playing the Chopin Second Concerto. And it was just obvious, you know, that this was something very exceptional. You know, I mean, they really chose the right guy there. You know, some of these people like him or Martha Argerich, it was very clear they were the winners, you know. Please, as you say, be the soldier for the best values of the past, and I would suggest also, if you haven't done it already, that you not just listen to Zimmerman, who I think is arguably the greatest pianist alive, you know, but you might listen also to some of the dead ones who are great, like you mentioned, not just Rubinstein, but Horowitz as a great artist. But have you heard Cortot, for instance?
I don't know. I've never heard of Cortot.
You have a pencil?
Who's that?
If I can write this down. Alfred Cortot.
Cort.
C-O-R-T-T.
Yes, this one.
Yes.
Yes.
Have you heard Joseph Hoffman?
Yes, I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And have you heard Rachmaninoff?
Rachmaninoff, he plays too, yeah. Sometimes
he plays this very famous recording of this piece.
Yes, he sometimes plays a lot of those oral compositions. He even sometimes plays his own concerto like
Right, yeah. I would suggest listening also to those three people because they were the greatest of their age. That was probably around 1920, and they represented the top of the art from that time, like Zimmerman represents the top of the art, or maybe Zimmerman and who else? Maybe Martha Argerich, you know, a few of these people, Ashkenazi before, the top from this age, and then your generation. Well, so far it's Lang Lang. Or Yudi Lee.
Yudi Lee, yeah.
Yudi Lee is not that good
He's
anymore.
not that good. Well, really, you know, those Chinese kids, they often want to participate in competitions, so they have the teacher polish their piece, and then if the teacher's gone, they're dead. They can't do anything. They're stuck. Right. And that's, Lang Lang, however, some of his playing I really appreciate. I heard him live when I was playing Prokofiev 3 with the Milwaukee Symphony, and he was amazing. But recently, however, still his playing is sometimes he's very talented at all, but well, there's obviously better like Trifonov. You heard of Trifonov, right?
Yeah, Trifonov. He was actually here.
Trifonov, he's amazing. I heard his Prokofiev Sonata on YouTube at the Rubinstein competition in Tel Aviv, and he was super. I think he's even better than Lang. Lang Lang, he's very talented, sure, but for someone who just practices 12 hours a day with no reading, however, his music is not that deep. His playing is technically very fantastic, but I heard his 4 ballades on YouTube in Moscow, man, I wasn't impressed. He played so random, accent there, accent here, and like if he played this, and he played those fast sections, like extremely fast fingers, but very good clarity.
Very interesting. Well, you're a very bright guy, and it's very interesting to hear you talk. I am fascinated with your generation and what is becoming of this world. I'm 61 years old now.
You don't look like that.
Yeah. My mother is 87, and she looks like she's 60.
Oh yeah,
So, my mother's side of the family looks very young. My father's side normal.
Okay.
But my mother's, and I look like my mother.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky. I look very young.
Yeah.
But I am 61.
But I would say you are 40
I've been alive
something.
a long time, and I've seen four. Thank you. I've seen 4 generations between you and me, or 3 generations between you and me, and I don't like the direction things are going. If Yudi Lee and Lang Lang are the direction, and yet we started with Horowitz and Rubinstein, I think the world's in trouble. I really think we need to go back and study the history of our great art, and fortunately it is recorded. But we must not listen to it on computers. We must listen to it on a speaker.
Yes, I agree with you. I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's just
we were
outraged. It just makes me very outraged.
Good.
On how this technology is taking over. Technology can be great for example.
Don't you think that a person like Lang Lang is very influenced by technology?
Well, yes, he is. I saw him giving an encore Flight of the Bumblebee on an iPad at a concert on YouTube.
Yes, he played one hand on keyboard, the other hand on an iPad. That makes the audience crazy.
Well, he's just...
And the audience probably loved it.
Yes.
It's for modern day appeal.
Yeah. Technology is not necessarily a great thing. Technology can be a harmful thing to the human soul. That's the problem with this. I think Lang Lang is not guilty all by himself. He is being handled by people who make money on him.
Yes.
He's like a circus animal.
Yes.
And they use him to make millions of dollars all the time.
Yeah.
And he goes along with it because he comes from a background, very poor, where he can't. He's overwhelmed by this whole situation. He's like a great athlete, and they're managing him.
Yes, they are.
I don't think he even thinks about this stuff. He does whatever they're telling him to do. But it's very bad for music. I really think it's... He's
a very great talent, but sadly he uses his talent incorrect. He uses it to show off and just to gain public appeal.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Sadly, those true artists don't get the attention they deserve. They play very well, but only those who are with marketing, who are usually pretty bad players
Yeah.
get the money. The bad players who are good at marketing, like Lang Lang, get
Yeah.
the money. The good
Yeah.
players who are bad at marketing don't get their money.
Do you like Yundi Lee more?
Well, Yoon Lee, the quality of his playing is much better, I have to agree, but his repertoire is quite small.
Small, yeah.
Because he relied too much on his teacher. His
Too much on his teacher.
Teacher,
And
yeah.
Who is his teacher?
Ari Vardy and
No, I think
Israel, right?
in
Yeah.
Germany.
not
Germany.
Germany. Initially in China, is Dan Shaoyi is a very good teacher, very good coaching. He can help the kids to polish their piece very beautifully. They can earn big prize, but
Like the Gina Botcher
but
competition.
those kids are just spoon fed. The result, their teacher, they just cannot survive. So
Yeah.
what I heard is some agency give Windy a piece, let him prepare, like get it ready in 3 months.
Right.
He cannot make it.
Yeah.
So that's why his career cannot go further.
He's dependent on being spoon-fed by
Ye-
his teachers.
yes.
Yeah. He didn't learn himself.
Self, yeah.
This is the
But
one.
Lang Lang is different. Lang Lang is a quick learner. He's very smart. That's
Yeah.
why he can survive in this, commercial.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. And obviously he is a great marketer too. He loves publicity. He loves to wear crazy clothes, act in
Yes.
ways like rock singer. And
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he's more, his hair is very straight like a rock.
Right,
He's
right.
more, instead of a pianist, he's more of a rock star.
Yes,
Who just
yes, I
just
agree.
goes out just like, yes.
To me,
just
he's the
dancing
same
around.
as Mick Jagger. He's like one of the great Rolling Stones from the '60s. I mean,
It's like-
he's and in China, I believe he is the most popular
Pianist.
person to imitate.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's not good to imitate him because those things, they just drag from your
But
heart.
without him, there won't be so many Chinese students to learn piano.
yes.
And
So
they
because-
were not coming. They are not coming
Right.
to U.S. to learning.
Yeah.
And half of the music conservatory will be closed.
yeah, right.
So that's
Well-
his marketing effect has some positive effect too.
I want to say that I'm very glad that somebody of your talent came to this festival here.
Yes.
You know, and that you will see some things you like and some things you don't like, but at least you bring us hope that you have something. I'm here 14 years and I have seen few people with your talent. And I really, and I'm also very interested in your future that you seem very interested in the great history of our past.
Yes,
Yeah.
and this is important because
Yeah.
it's not just about playing the notes. Chopin, this ballade, I heard he was imposed, it was based on a disastrous trip to Majorca, Spain.
Right.
And then he expected to have a really good time there, but unfortunately, their residence places were not good.
Yeah, that's right. He was very disturbed by that. Yes. That's you wouldn't necessarily know it from the blood. Well, so we talked here about deciding exactly the mood and deciding the ideas completely, and then finding in sound exactly that. And we worked on the right and we worked on the left. Now, so going backwards in the piece, let's go back before the storming sections. I would like to go to the very first entrance of this tune here, of this. Now, it says no pedal, of course. Your choice was to play the rest literally. I assume that you thought about that, and you do that as opposed to which you don't like as much. Is that right?
Well, my teacher didn't want me to bring out the rests, though. But I think that this way makes it more smooth and less chopped.
Did you ever play an Erard or a Pleyel piano that Chopin used for his own? Oh, the two pianos of the time of Chopin were, first of all, Pleyel, and second of all, Erard. Two French pianos. You never played the piano. I don't know. Where you live in Madison? Where do you live?
I live in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. You live in Milwaukee. I'm sorry. Okay, fine. I'm sure in Milwaukee these pianos there are people that own these pianos. It might be very interesting for you to play it. The sound is so thin that if you put the pedal down and go, it disappears almost completely, even though you have the pedal down.
Oh, so it's that extended. The sound cannot be.
It extends, more than a harpsichord, or
but not as
doesn't
good
extend
as
as
one.
much as the modern piano. The modern piano has a very big resonance and a long duration of tone. So it is a problem to do this because you don't get the rest. Yes, but if you, with your hand, come up on the note very quickly and use the pedal, we get the effect of the rest without the bump of the rest. Good, and almost perfect. Let's get off the C faster. Yes. Stop, yeah. There is a compromise, a modern compromise with the piano that achieves both the rest, for me, this achieves both the rest and the smoothness of the mood of the section. Right. I prefer that to how you did it at first. Now, can you keep the mood, however you want to talk about this mood? I was enjoying a whole scene, a whole scenario. Now, the only part that, for me, changed the mood away from, well, how do you talked about these adjectives before. What's here, in your opinion? How do you feel about this part, and what are the words for you?
Well, according to what I've read on the internet regarding this resembles the pace of the donkey that Chopin and his friends were riding.
Mm-hmm.
But here I just...
We're in Mallorca, right?
Yeah.
Pace of a donkey. Okay.
But I feel it more of a dance-like section.
A dance-like section, yeah, right. I like the dance more than the donkey. A donkey doesn't have a very good connotation in our culture, because donkeys were used for carrying potatoes and things like that, and they're making a funny noise, and they're not as beautiful as a horse, and lots of things, and people say bad things about donkeys. So I don't even know that the donkey inspires me so much.
Yeah.
But the dance does. The dance does. But what kind of dance? Because the thing is, you're doing something kind of gentle, but this, when you play this one here, there's a little bit of kind of maybe angst that you express, and I think that's intentional, right? You don't think this is like the end of a phrase kind of letting up the tension, but more, do you have a feeling what this is as opposed to what came before? Yeah, see how you play it with kind of like a great vigor. That's very different. That's like an end of a phrase. That's less like an end of a phrase, because that's going forward. Yeah, that's more here. Yes, I like that more. Then you're back to the going forward in it. If you take a little bit of time, that's one of the overall comments I would make about your performance was very competently played. You didn't seem to like to take a lot of extra time. You played it rather strict, I guess I could say, rhythmically. Yeah. Maybe it's your taste, maybe it's also your teacher and everything. This, for me, is an area where you could take a little bit of breathing space. Wow. To me, that kept the mood of this particular dance. One little thing like that goes off from the prevailing mood makes a very strong impression in this piece. It's like, you know, we're in this beautiful thing, and then there's something that unstabilizes us a little bit. So be very sensitive to keeping consistent with your idea in a given part of this piece. Now, of course, this changes later. It becomes more stormy. Yeah, absolutely. But can you get through the whole first page here and don't have anything that is anxious? No, but just things that go on. Yes. Let's stop. I basically liked it very, very much. I thought you contrasted. That was one of your words in the beginning when I asked you. Contrast. Yeah, and I think you did that very well. You showed in the relative minor a different mood. I don't agree, though, like we were talking before about this, I don't agree with what you played here, because that breath, for me, was too literally taken. Can we do the same idea of... that was with the breath, though. Can you... just a tiny pause. It's a little bit like a hiccup. Okay, what, you like that, or you want that? That's just what you want? Right, maybe that was a little too much the other way, but talk about onward smoothness, it didn't disturb from that. Can we split the difference now? Just do it, old tiny pause, but a little more than you just did. A little more. What's a little more? Wow, that was it. That was it. Okay, I got the contrast, but I didn't get the hiccup. That was a great one. Let's try it again for good luck from here. Wow. Same. Perfect. The only thing is when we were we're doing something with the sound where we're pulling more or pressing more and hitting less. Could we also not do the hitting here? Keep it. Not. Let's push them to you. Let's stop it. I think you got about 50% of it there. Yeah. I know you're very fast. the more you are sensitive to this concept of sound, the more I think you'll be close to your own adjectives of elegant and graceful. Okay? The sound was a lot of it, and the other aspect of it was the strictness of time, which I respect very much, and I think you have a very good teacher, because undoubtedly your teacher has good taste. You know, I mean, that's one of the problems with Long Long, isn't it? He has bad taste.
Well, he just everything seems to have a lot of styles to it.
Yeah, well, what is taste, right? I mean, if the world loves his style, therefore he doesn't have bad taste. To me, he does. It's not his fault. It's what he doesn't know about our great art that he lets himself play that way.
Well, because I mean, for someone who just bangs, who just sits at the piano and pounds 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have time to read. It's important.
Literature, right? History.
I do.
Listening, right? Knowing the art.
Knowing the art.
100 years of recorded history of our art is so accessible now with the computer, right? There's no excuse not to know it. I agree. I agree. You're close stylistically with these two things. The timing element there, we could probably just close here with your opening phrase in terms of where you take time, if you take any time. Let me just hear the first 8 measures. Started in just the right places for me, and I felt complete when you did. If you did that throughout the whole piece, it's as if when you get into the more technical sections that you seem to get stricter with time. There too, though, you could breathe. And, you know, just to jump back to the very end where we began, that would be a section where you could probably, to me, take more time. There would be time, and then because you did just now in the opening with the same material. So can you breathe in that? But you see where you would breathe it is first deep breath, and then flat stop. And then stop. Good. Yes, that was better. But now slow the whole thing down. want you to pause a little bit so we can hear him. Take your time. And drop now. You did pause a little bit, but the big pause moment would be here if you did it. Because it's stepwise, right? It's and then he suddenly jumps up a major third when he's been going up a chromatic. So you would be showing that compositional element. So pause and then from here. So we went through 16 measures here, and I showed you possible breathing spots, for lack of a better word. This would be the other element aside from the sound, which we talked about, which would keep things more in line with elegant and joyful, and what was the third?
And graceful.
Graceful. Elegant, joyful, graceful. Throughout, be aware of sound in the way we talked about, and also be aware of breathing spots. And I think you will add to a very good performance of this piece, which is already very good. Yeah. What is your other repertoire?
My other repertoire, what I brought, you mean what I brought?
To the festival.
The entire form, all four movements of the Beethoven Opus 2 number 3. And I also brought this ballade and the scherzo number 3. And additionally, I brought the first movements of the Liszt Piano Concerto in E flat major, all three movements of the Mozart K332 Piano Sonata in F major, Bach Prelude and Fugue in C sharp major.
Okay, because you brought a lot of repertoire.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you in the competition?
No, of course not.
No. Well, you never know. Just asking.
It was because my pieces aren't that polished. I mean, my teacher usually insists put more emphasis on learning repertoire rather than just going to competitions.
Yes, which I think is the right choice. Yes, at least at your age, completely is the right choice. Yeah, so I think it's great you're not in competitions. You can do all your growing and not worry about silly remarks by other people. Yeah, except for people like me who have to make silly remarks because we're paid to do that. But I hope they're not totally silly.
Yeah. I mean, in competition, there's a lot of unfairness. I mean, sometimes the ones who play well fail. It's because of connection. Like in the Van Cliburns, often, the judges had their friends.
Connections with the students, right? Or with other teachers.
That's right. This is,
Yes, I know.
Like in the Clyburn, Fei Dong, I don't think she was that good, but since her teacher was on the jury, it helped her.
Of course. That's the way it's always been too. And Mozart and Liszt complained about those problems too.
They have competitions back then?
Well, it wasn't that they had competitions, it's that they had politics, just like they have politics now. Somebody knows somebody and therefore they get something, and somebody else doesn't who's better. And it's just the human condition. But that has nothing to do with your development as an artist. I think you got off to a great start. When did you begin?
I'm around 6 or 7 years old.
And you're 15.
Yes.
Fantastic, yeah. Well, I hope we see you again.
Thank you. I'm strongly considering coming back next year.
That would be wonderful.
It's a great festival. I mean, the teachers here are just very good.
Yeah. I'm glad that you're having you feel it's a worthwhile experience.
Yes, it is.
My policy personally is that everybody, I've been here 14 years, everybody I see and work with here, I give one free lesson to if they come through New York during the winter. If you ever come through New York during the winter and you want a free lesson, I will give you one.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Great.